I'm going to go ahead and continue turning this skin away from the skull here. And I like to work this back section of this a little bit farther. And I'm constantly pulling just the skin out away from whatever tissue could be holding it, because it's going to kind of show you where it wants to separate. Just like when you're skinning the body, it's just a little more tedious. So you can see all the tissue moving there. So that's all part of the ear butt. So we want to make sure we're leaving all that intact to the cape and not leaving it on the carcass. So I'm going to go ahead and cut right close to the skull. And you can see right here is where that ear canal actually connects to the bone. So we want to go ahead and separate it right there. The biggest thing is to not be intimidated by caping these critters off. If you've skinned animals, you have the basics you need. With a few little problem areas, you can really become pretty efficient at this. And you know, if you're a backpack hunter, you can save yourself, I mean, anywhere from 7 to 27 pounds, depending on the animal and you know what your experience level was before. If you can cape these off and cut just your skull cap, you're leaving a lot of unnecessary weight on the hill. See where it's trying to tear right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take my knife and I'm going to separate it from the bone, because I need all this skin attached to the cape. Okay, so again, use your finger and just keep an eye on where you're at. And you can see where this would be considered the small of the horn. Where this drops down, where it starts to climb, is where you really need to start getting cautious about where your eye is located. Again, my finger's actually inside the eye opening so that I can keep this skin separate. Because it's real easy to come across this and nick that back corner of the eye. It's probably one of the most common mistakes I see when people are caping these critters themselves. So again, you can see my finger moving there. I'm going to pinch them together so my other hand looks just like this. I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to cut right in front of my finger. So right here you can see this real dark coloration here. Where it turns to light is where I actually want to separate that skin, because that's the front of your eyeball there. So this is all the inner eye skin I'm going to need. Again, I'm working everything around this area because I want this to have the most tension on it to come off. It's going to allow me to keep closest to the skull. Okay. And then again, this is that front corner where all the moisture from his eye comes from. So I'm going to cut real close and really dig in right there. And once it's separated, you just have your tear duct to worry about. All right, so as far as your tear duct goes, it's also known as the lacrimal gland. So it's actually, you can see, it's got a lot of depth to it and it goes in there quite a ways. So we want to keep as much of that intact as we can. The angle it goes into the skull is about a 45-degree angle, almost forward facing. So always come from underneath, and that'll allow you to free a lot of that skin up as you move forward. Alright, so now that I got all that freed up, we're going to come back over here, and this is where your tear duct sits down inside there. So the way you're going to want to attack that is you can feel your bone structure here. It's almost like if you were using you as an example, it would just be your cheekbone almost. So you're going to come right close to that bone, and you're going to go in at about a 45-degree angle. You're just going to work just the tip of your knife back and forth. And you can see how far that actually goes down inside there. And once you get it loosened up kind of on the bottom, then you'll come around this front. This is where, if you do have a screwdriver in camp, it can come in handy because you can just get in behind it and you can actually pry that tissue out. And so we've got that tiered out completely, but you can see that's a pretty deep channel and it's really easy to come straight across and really cause some issues with the front corner here. So always come in from this angle with your knife, get that bottom section loosened up, and then you can start working from the front and down. One of the really great parts about caping stuff off is you get to practice everything twice because you got to do the same thing on both sides. So again, I'm going to go ahead and dive straight into that orbital cavity there and get it all loosened up. And then you can come in right off the front corner of this bone here and you can start loosening that tissue. Again, if you have a screwdriver, you can just take and pry that out. And you still want to be cautious when you're cutting because there is still going to be a portion of it connected to the top here. All right. Now we've got that kind of straightened out. We're kind of on the home stretch now. I know you're thinking, man, if this guy takes this long, I do a lot faster if I'm not explaining, I promise. So we're just gonna, same thing as skin and everything else, you're just gonna keep working everything all the way out to the edge.